Today is January 12th, 2024. Today is a Friday. It is partly cloudy, wet, moist, just gloomy outside. And that's okay. That's all right. We'll deal with that when we get there, you know. Nothing wrong with a gloomy, overcast day. Hope your guys' weeks have been okay. I'm kind of deciding on Friday being the day that I do Tatio. Mainly today because I finally got over that ear debacle. It's not completely gone. Hearing still feels a little bit funny, and I could hear myself more than I can hear other people more often than not. But it's a lot better than it was. I could actually hear out of both ears, which is a blessing. Very glad I made a near full recovery at this point, so hopefully by next week I'll be in tip-top shape. Very comforting thought. There are rumors going around today that Ghostbusters Frozen Empire will be getting its full trailer released today. I'm debating on whether or not to watch it, as last time Ghostbusters did a full trailer for one of their movies, for Afterlife, it ended up with just spoiling the end of the movie, which I was not a big fan of. I was a fan of the event happening in the movie. I wasn't a fan of them spoiling it before I went to go see the movie. So I'm hesitant on what this one's gonna do. I'll let it come out, and then I'll click on the video, pause it, not watch it, and just read the comments to see how spoilery it is, see if anybody regrets watching it or anything like that. Probably not. It'll just be most people quoting the first movie, because that seems to be what Ghostbuster fans are best at. Except for me, I can't quote movies very well. I'm very slow in the mind. No, I'm just messing with you guys. I don't really care. As you can hear, I guess it's raining outside now, I believe. Not sure how well you could hear that. Starting off on a bit of a sour note, I suppose. I guess I'm just I want to apologize for that. I guess I'm just in a bad mood from yesterday at work. It just wasn't a particularly good day. Don't wish to talk about and or quote-unquote vent about it, because that never seems to make me ever feel better about the situation. It just makes me think about how much it angered me, and it never gets it off my chest. It just makes me more angry about it, you know? But it happened. I'm home. I'll have to go back there again until tomorrow, and then the next day, and then I get another day off. It's a vicious cycle. I can't wait to have another excuse to put in a request for some time off. That'll be nice. But I don't want to do it just all willy-nilly. I'm trying to catch back up on my financial situation. That whole year thing, took a break for Christmas, came back for a day, got the whole ear thing going on. I missed a couple days, just right after Christmas too. So I'm just like, you know, financially I'm not not in a terrible spot, but I'm not where I used to be. You know, I'd like a bit more cushion to fall back onto in case anything were to happen. And I've been making better strides with how I spend my money, so I'm happier about that too. I removed my debit card information from my Amazon account, so I can't just really impulse buy anything that I wish. I'll have to go out of my way to go to a store to get a card, an Amazon card, and then at that point, I'll debate whether or not I want a $50 card or a $30 card, like what I want. Usually I always end up getting a $50 card, and I always end up getting a $50 card. I've only done it once, so there's no always. But I think how I want to do it is maybe just like $50 a month every 2 weeks or so, like that. I'll use something to buy there to, you know, kind of lift my spirits up. But I don't want to I don't want it to let it get out of control like it was in December. There's just so many good deals and so much trickery and debauchery or debauchery. Debauchery. I don't know how that word. I'm not sure what that word is, but it feels right to say in this moment. But no, I'm making better strides, trying to start the new year off strong, or not off strong, but off to a good solid start. Today is the 12th, so that makes it about just about 2 weeks, a day over 2 weeks, being completely soda free. The other day I did have a Celsius just to see how it would make my tummy feel, because I'm trying to figure out if sweeteners are what's really messing with my stomach or if it was something else. And I tried it. It didn't make me feel any particular kind of way. It didn't make me feel zippy. And I don't count it as a soda or a slip up because it didn't have an abundance amount of sugar in a drink that didn't make me feel any particular kind of way. That being said, it's not like I'm drastically lowering the intake of my sugar per se, but I am cutting out one of the biggest things that contributed to my intake of sugar, which was soda. Look at the back of a Coca-Cola bottle. It's like 124% of your daily intake of sugar. It's absolutely jaw-dropping when you actually think about how much sugar you can have in a day. I made a couple slip-ups here and there on a dive, trying to make better strives. I think I've had like a wing or two in the past, but my consumption of food that I normally eat has gone down tremendously. I've been trying to find things that make me feel better, things that fill me with more, not gratitude, but satisfaction. Just all around. I've replaced soda with tea. I do put sugar in my tea. I tried it without sugar. It just wasn't incredibly pleasant to me. I have all these Harley Tea Company tins lying around my place, and I'd like to know what I should do with them. If you guys have any hacks or uses for your Harley tea tin containers, please let me know. I would love to hear them. By the way, just remind me later to set the Spotify release of this podcast, which, by the way, this podcast is now on Spotify. You remind me to set it to explicit because I keep slipping up and cussing, and I don't want to get in trouble. I'd like to keep my podcast there. I heard something about streaming your podcast off of RSS. I don't know what that means, but apparently you just put in a link and then your podcast will just start working, which is important because first thing on the agenda, my little notepad here, I'm starting to write down thoughts that I want to cover. Where is my list of doohickeys? I have a notepad. I carry it around with me now. I use it to plan out my days coming up, and I use it to write down things that I'd like to talk about on here and with friends in real life. Let's see here. YouTube. It says apparently Google has closed down their service, Google Podcasts, and is streamlining it and forming it with YouTube Music to make to change the podcasting world on YouTube. Which is funny that they canceled Google Podcasts because I didn't even know that Google had a service called Google Podcasts. So I'm assuming the reason that they closed it because it wasn't very popular. But that'll be exciting. I want to see what I'll be able to do with it and to see how I can elevate this viewer audience, not by a lot, just by a little bit. I'd like to have a few interactions here and there. That would be nice. But we can go ahead and cross that one off the agenda because I don't know a lot about it, and I don't think people know a lot about it either. I think it's just a very brand new thing. Speaking of brand new thing, the other day I had a very not great day at work, and my solution to cope with it, instead of buying myself a dinner plate meal, and it comes with 5 wings and 2 sides. My 2 sides will always be like mac and cheese or something deep fried. Instead of getting myself something unhealthy like that, I decided to cope with it in a different way and buy myself a small Lego set. I bought myself, the box is under my bed somewhere. I think I just kicked it off to the side. But it's a Lego set with like an RV, and it comes with a couple, and they have a baby and a green camera and a baby bottle. And it was a good set. It was a fun set to build. It happened so quick though. The last time I put together a Lego set, it took me like an hour or two, and this one only took me like 10-15 minutes. I think this year one of the things that'll probably for my birthday, the only things I have on my birthday list that I would like to purchase for myself is a portable DVD player, so I'm allowed I can allow myself to watch the Blu-rays I've been collecting over the past year or so, to watch them at my leisure while I work on my craft, on my hobbies, on my movie, on my projects. On top of that, I might just buy myself a big, giant, sprawling Lego set to put together over the period of some number of months, because that would be nice. That would be nice to spend a long time in a Lego set. That would make me feel happy. It would be something to come back to, something familiar, something interesting. I believe my tea is done. Today I'm having the Harley's Tea Company's Hot Cinnamon Sunset. That is my favorite flavor of their tea. Life hack for you guys at home is becoming winter. Your skin's getting dry, your lips are getting chapped. If your lips are getting chapped and you do not have any chapstick, make yourself a hot cup of tea and rest your lips on the outside of the cup. It'll tighten the skin right back up. How about that? That's hot. That's very hot. But very good. I do 3 cubes of sugar in my tea. I use cubes because I couldn't, for the life of me, find a sugar bowl just lying around. And And believe it or not, using cubes makes me use less sugar in my tea, anyways, and I could barely tell the difference. But I do like sugar in my tea versus something like honey. I tried honey; it gives it just a different sweetness kind of flavor. It's like a earthier, stick around your mouth kind of flavor. I prefer sugar. I'm never gonna get rid of sugar out of my life. I'm willing to accept that, but I'm gonna manage it. Better strides, better me. Let's see. Biggest slip up for strives this year is I've not rode my bike once. My claim to how do I put this? My excuse for that would be probably losing my hearing. I have rear view mirrors on my bike. They don't work too well. Um, so if I hear a car coming behind me, which I like to ride around the sunset hour. It's my favorite calmest hour to ride during the day. That also happens to be the exact same time people are coming home from work. So, lots of cars on the road. And I'd like to hear cars coming up from behind me because I don't want to get in their way. People already don't like bikers enough. The last thing I want to do is get run over. So that's my excuse. But I am going to try to do it more often, especially just before it gets frigid, freezing cold right now. Because right now it's not frigid, freezing cold just yet. It's actually pretty warm today. It's raining outside. But it was barely cold during the winter, and I know that's just because it's not the winter is gone. It's the earth is too hot. The earth is getting warmer, but the cold is coming later, and it's not getting any less cold. Like, good God, you can get it was freezing a couple days during the middle of December. I know when February comes around this year, it's just gonna come in full swing. It's just gonna be so uncomfortably cold, but that's okay. I'll be ready for it. I've been on antibiotics. I'm supposed to take them every 8 hours. I've been taking them less frequently because I've been noticing less pain and fatigue in my head. So that's a good sign. I still have a few more to take. I think the last one I took was this morning at 9, I want to say. So 9 plus 1 is 10, plus 2 is 12, so that's 3, and then 3 plus 5 is 8, so 5 p.m. is when I'll have to take the next one, probably just right before dinner. I heard we're having breakfast for dinner. That's going to be fun. I need to vacuum. I've kept sweeping, but I don't have a dustpan or anything like that. It's like a Swiffer sweeper type deal. It doesn't stick to the bristles. It just stays on the floor, so I think I'm going to have to vacuum and everything to get it all out of the way. Um, that's just a bit of a side of my life for the opening segment. What I want to do is I want to get out of the way. Actually, before I get out of the way, let me tell you what I got on Amazon the other day because I have been better with my Amazon purchases. Instead of buying 18 or 20 different movies to flex how much money I have, I decided to just limit it to 2 items. Just because it's my monthly purchase. I like getting things in the mail. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just wrong when there's too much of it. So learning to manage it. The other day I got in one movie and one book. I got directed by Miyazaki himself, The Castle of Cagliostro on Blu-ray. It has been playing on my TV for the past few days. I think it's a perfect background movie. It's also a great movie on its own. It makes me want to get into Lupin the Third. I have a lot of friends who are into Lupin the Third, so I want to ask them where's a good place to start. Looking at the Wikipedia, it just looks like a headache waiting to happen of trying to manage where things are actually going. But as far as my concern, it looks like that they don't do seasons, they do parts, and there's maybe like 7 or 8 parts, each of them being about the length of a season, 30, 40, 50 episodes. And they're all done by different people. It's kind of like a James Bond situation where, different actors, different director, different interpretations. And then the movies that they have are completely separate. They're their own thing. I'm more interested in the movies than I am the series, because the series looks just like longer versions of the movies, like they're in this country, now they're doing this, they're doing this. But I like Miyazaki Lupin, and I heard a lot of people found it overbearing compared to what Lupin actually is. So I'm interested to see what what people are more used to. I guess like the Castle of Cagliostro on its own. I think it's a good, just like thriller thief kind of movie. It's a neat one. Watching it right now, just kind of glancing at it. Great, beautiful animation. Very fun, entertaining movie. And I also got another book in the mail called Morpho, Anatomy for Artists, and this one is the Clothes, Folds, and Creases edition. I have more books that I want to read this year, but one thing I keep seeing in my Amazon recommended is I keep seeing the Morpho book series. I think there's about 10 or 11, I could be wrong, complete series. It looks like there's only about 8 here. but I think somewhere in the book he says he's done 10 books so far. So I'm not too sure. Um, but I keep seeing these books recommended. They a few of them look interesting, a few of them look not like my favorite, but I wanna at least read one of them to see what it's all about, what kind of information it gives me. Because if this one is good, then I'd like to purchase the rest of them and see what they have to offer. If you know what I'm talking about, it's Morpho on the side. It's usually one color, and then to the right side of the text, it'll have like a gray sketch on it by I'm gonna pronounce this name wrong. My dear apologies, Michael Lauricella. Michael Lauricella. I pronounced it wrong. It's published by Rocky Nook, and I've been flipping through it, and it looks like it has a lot of good references and figures to reference, and very minimal text, which is what I prefer in a reference book. And he does some on anatomy, some on muscles, some on bones, some on fat, skins, and folds. And I'd like to just read through this one to see if it's worth it. Heads up for anybody who's going to buy it. It is a lot smaller than you think it is. A lot thicker than you think it is, based off of the sample that they let you read for free on Amazon. And the reviews are true. The cover does not come correctly attached to the actual book itself. It's like they superglued the back page to the cover, but they didn't superglue the spine. That's fine by me. I don't really care, just as long as the book is intact, and it is. I'll be giving that read probably later today, right after this podcast. I think we could get back to work on the movie. I've taken a few-day break off of it, not intentionally. I just kind of found myself losing and not really maintaining focus. So after this, probably go use the bathroom, probably pop tunes on, probably knock out a couple shots that I need to in between in color, and get the ball back rolling again. So that's gonna be me on my end, and I'm not sure if I already said this because I keep going off on tangents. Very aggravating. But one thing I still need to get out of the way before we continue doing Tatio this year is I need to get through the last few movies that I saw in 2023. And I keep missing them. Keep missing them. My ears still pop. I would like to apologize, and I just shaved my beard, so it is extremely itchy. But the last three movies that I saw last year in this order were Oppenheimer, Godzilla Minus One, and The Boy and the Heron. These films, watching back to back, I thought they were all fantastic. Watching these films back to back I think it's kind of amazing for me to recap them in this order, because they all just had spoilers if you know nothing about any of these movies, because every single one of these movies that I watched, I went into them not watching the trailers for them at all. I just said, yes, let's go watch it on a whim. I never saw trailers for them. I never knew what they were about. I just walked in and I started watching them, which it's been so long since I've watched a movie like that, and I think that elevated the experience. So if you're like me and you knew nothing about these movies prior to seeing them, if you're just interested in movies at all, I think you'll like all of them. I think they're all going to be up your alley. If you just like any kind of movies whatsoever, they all have fantastic acting. They all have creative ideas. They all last long, and I cannot wait until I get to watch them again on streaming and then purchase them physically. Oppenheimer less so, because there's a whole freaking like Oppenheimer just exploded the physical media resurgence. I think like people don't want to say that physical media is dying. I think it's the complete polar opposite. Is now evolving and flourishing, and it's a new genre, which is niche, is a niche genre. And Oppenheimer excelled that, because the second they came out on 4K Steelbook, it shot up to $80 because they immediately ran out. So there's no way it's not. If you look on Amazon right now for releases of movies and TV, the top three are all Oppenheimer in Blu-ray, 4K, and DVD. They take the top three spots separately. Isn't that insane? Now, I saw Oppenheimer first. Oppenheimer is about the guy who made the bomb that we dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Crazy movie. Not really crazy movie, but it's kind of an interesting movie. Kind of really interesting movie. It wasn't exactly up my alley, but it did keep me entertained. I was never bored. It was like 3 hours long. It was a long-ass movie, and I was never bored. I was never checking my phone for the time. I think I did once, but that's because I had to use the bathroom, and it was an hour and a half in, so I just held it. There's a sex scene. It's not very intense, but the lady there is hot, so that's cool. You get to see Cillian Murphy with his cock out. That's pretty cool. The explosion is breathtaking. It's not visually overwhelming, but what it means in the movie, you can feel what all the characters are feeling. It feels great, and that's when actually the movie gets interesting. Is the aftermath of the explosion, which is when I was watching the movie is what I was excited for. They keep flickering between color footage and black and white footage. Not black and white footage as it's actually old footage, but as a stylistic choice. Didn't make sense until the end, but when it did, I was very surprised, very pleasantly surprised, and when it clicked for me, I was very happy. I like I like this movie a lot, and I think I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 for me on an enjoyable scale, and then on like an objective scale, I'll give it like an 8. An 8 or a 9, because I really did like this movie a lot. Also, first Christopher Nolan movie. I haven't seen any of his other movies at all. I haven't seen Inception. I haven't seen any of the Dark Knight movies. I was just never interested. I haven't seen Interstellar. I haven't seen any of those movies. Just wasn't interested. This one, so why not give it a shot? Our intention was to see it back to back with Barbie, and I ended up never watching Barbie in the theaters. I did watch it with my friends when it came out on HBO Max, and it was okay. I liked it. I think I already talked about it on this channel, though, so I won't go too far onto it. So the movie I saw after that was Godzilla Minus One. This one I didn't even see a poster for. I didn't even know this movie was coming out. My friend was just like, "Hey, there's a new Godzilla movie coming out. Do you want to like walk around the mall until like 7 and then let's go watch the movie?" And I was like, "Sure, that sounds like a great time." And I was like, "What movie is it?" And he was just like, "Oh, it's just a Godzilla movie. There's just a new one coming out." And I was like, "Okay, sure," because you can't really go wrong with a Godzilla movie. It's just like the human stuff is boring, but then Godzilla comes around and the action's kind of cool. And it's like an hour and a half, and then you go home. Went to Godzilla Minus One, and I think I'm gonna preface this with I want you to watch the movie so badly if you've not seen it, and if you are not interested in Godzilla, please watch this movie. This will get you into Godzilla, because I'm not very familiar with Godzilla myself. I've seen a couple movies from like what's it, the Universal. The Universal makes those movies. I've seen a couple of them. Not crazy about those, but watching this movie, I want to preface this with please watch this movie because I'm gonna spoil it, because the only way I can talk about how much I love it is by spoiling it. Is that it's amazing. Not even 2 minutes in, Godzilla just shows up and starts breaking shit. It takes place in World War II. It's another World War II movie starring a kamikaze pilot in Japan who isn't dead, so everybody just hates him and is just fucking with him the whole film. It's amazing. It's great. I love that perspective. It takes place over a couple years. He comes home from a Godzilla attack and Japan's in shambles. The title didn't make any sense to me, Godzilla Minus One, but the director said it was something about World War II put Japan at 0, and Godzilla put them in -1. That was his explanation. Then he comes home, and then he needs to find a job because all the jobs are gone, and his job will be destroying the landmine stuck in the sea, with a crew kind of akin to a Spielbergian movie. There's like an old scientist guy, and then there's like a old in the field guy, and then there's like an excited kid, and he's kind of thrown into the mix, which I love that. I love that whole dynamic, by the way. It was fantastic. I was so disappointed when I saw them came on screen, because it was like, this dynamic is so perfect. I feel like they're just gonna get instantly killed because it's a Godzilla movie, but no, they really did. Make it interesting, and they left it around for a hot minute. It was very, very, very enjoyable. Sorry, I'm so tired. It's rainy, and sleep. I think I shot up at 5 a.m. on the dot because I thought it was gonna be work, but it wasn't. Today's my day off. And Godzilla Minus One, fantastic movie. What am I saying? I'm phrasing it like I'm gonna end it, but I still have some things to say about it. What was I going to say about it? God damn it. I guess I'll just make it quick because I clearly can't keep my attention anywhere, which is a good sign for me. It's time for me to do something else. So let me just fly through these last two. Godzilla Minus One. Great heat up sequence. His spikes pop up and then they lock back down, and it sounds like a shotgun cocking, and it's amazing. And there was some shoddy CGI spots, but a lot of it looked really, 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 really good. And there was like a couple shots that looked kind of but for a $15 million budget, it's absolutely phenomenal. I heard it broke world records. Oh, broke world records. It how do I put this? Not how do I put this? It was like the highest grossing live action Japanese movie opening in America, like of all time. Like it was amazing. I got a poster or two from it on the way back home. The climax is amazing. The whole movie's great. You should go see it. Let's leave it at that because I'm clearly too excited to I'm like bouncing my legs and shit. I'm clearly too excited to talk about it. I need to move on to something a bit more relaxed. Uh, Maybe I'll take a sip of tea. You know, this tea has caffeine in it. Maybe that's not good for me. Yeah, three cubes isn't enough. I usually do 2 teaspoons, and I feel like it's about a teaspoon and a half. So, 3 cubes is enough. Uh, Movie I saw after that was Boy and the Heron. Boy and the Heron is the new Studio Ghibli movie. Miyazaki keeps saying it's his last movie, but he's already working on his next. You know, like what are you gonna do? Boy and the Heron. Uh, I'll just keep this one quick because it's really an open closed book. If you like Spirited Away, you'll like this movie because this is just Spirited Away, but for like manly men. Does that make sense? Is that sexist to say? I feel like Spirited Away is for like family and kids, and because it's like nice and big and colorful and like delightful, you know, and like open. But what is it? Boy and the Heron is exactly like Spirited Away, but it's longer. It takes longer to start to get to like all the magical stuff, and when it does, it's a lot more dark and mature. Even if it is a lot more comedic, like if you take kids to see it, they'll enjoy it. But like this is like a manly man movie, you know. This is like a kid building a bow and arrow and then going to I guess what's supposed to be like pseudo afterlife like heaven type of world to go like save his mom. Great movie. Can't wait for that to come out. Hopefully on Steelbook by Shout Factory, so I could add it to my Ghibli collection, which I don't have any strict guidelines for owning Ghibli movies, but I did just happen to get all the Ghibli movies on Steelbook because they seem to be just as expensive as the regular Blu-rays, and they come with the Blu-rays and the DVD, but they're on a Steelbook and they look really pretty, just like one big piece of art in the logo. So I'd like to keep buying them on Steelbook, just to keep the collection of the dream going. The only one that I don't have on Steelbook is My Neighbor Totoro because I got it in like a box that it came with like a book and like the soundtrack. So I'm willing to like not get the steelbook for that one, or maybe I will. I don't think I will, because I already have the movie, you know, and it's already on Blu-ray. Another reason why I want to get a portable Blu-ray player this year is because all my goddamn movies don't have their DVD counterparts. Most of them just have, excuse me, most of them just have their 4K Blu-ray and their regular Blu-ray counterparts. Love Blu-ray. I love Blu-ray. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna regret it later because one day they're gonna. I'm just gonna wake up and all my Blu-rays are gonna be digitally wiped from some other evil corporation from some bullshit that we didn't see them ever setting up. I want to apologize for, at least as this one's going on, being so jittery and overexcited. I'm not sure what's not overexcited. I'm just so jittery and like I just feel weird now. I've been looking forward to getting this out of the way for all the time. I guess this could just be a bad episode. That's I'm okay with that. Uh, I'm willing to give all these movies a better review when they come out physically on DVD because I'll have like a chance to actually like rewatch them in the comfort of my own home, and that'll be nice to do. I'll appreciate that. As for today, I'm trying to see what I'm gonna do for the rest of the day because this is the beginning of the day. Did I ever say the time? The time is 11:43 p.m. A.m. I'm sorry, right now. So actually midday. But that's okay. For the rest of the day, probably want to make my bed. I'm trying to make it a daily thing of making my bed. Making your bed, is it really that important? Not particularly, but your bed takes up such a big chunk of your room that if you make it, it kind of makes your room go from like messy. Subconsciously, it makes it go from messy to clean in a way. So make my bed, work a little bit on the movie. my CD player broke. I had a Craig CD player, and it busted. It's my fault. I dropped it on the floor. Everything about it is fine except the headphone jack became unsoldered from the board. So no longer works, but that's okay. I'm gonna buy not a new Craig one, but I found another one on Amazon for about $30, and it has all the features I want. You know, anti-skip, Bluetooth, like all the basic stuff. And the cherry on top is that it doesn't have a rechargeable battery on the inside, so hopefully it'll last a lot longer. It takes regular batteries, which is kind of important to me because the whole point of me buying physical media is I don't want to replace shit. I'm tired of streaming services and having to switch streaming services and passwords and stuff like that. I'm tired of having to get stuff replaced to keep up with like all the newest stuff. You know, a CD player will work for CDs forever, and a Blu-ray player will work for Blu-rays and DVDs forever, or 4K will work for all of them forever. So I just want to buy one and be done with it. I don't want to have to replace it after a few years or anything like that. And if I get one with replaceable batteries, the chances of me having to replace it go down by a way lot. But I want to put it on my person. I want to put it on my body so I can listen to CDs while I do my bike rides. So I can keep my phone open for photos, because I like to take photos while I bike ride there for good reference. And so I'm gonna try to design a CD holder of types that can like just stay on my body. So that'll be nice. It's something I want to do later today, and I'll probably hang out with the boys because you know it's a day off. There's no reason I should just spend it all working. I should also have some fun. Maybe I'll play some golf with friends. That'll be nice. Do want to get a little bit into this book. I've been trying to get into a habit of setting an alarm for 9 p.m. So the last hour of my day, instead of playing games and sitting on the computer, I could just read. But I have been ignoring it. I haven't turned it off, but I've been ignoring it. So I'm going to try to pay closer attention to it in these weeks coming up because now that I'm just about fully recovered, there's a lot less excuses for me to just skip out on stuff. Uh, but yeah, that's what the rest of my day looks like. Probably get some more water too and use the bathroom, work on the movie, vacuum, hang out with the boys, read. I mean, that sounds like a pretty good day to you, doesn't it, guys? Doesn't it? I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Okay, bye.